Recording. Om Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Gopika Jeevana Smaranam Govinda Govinda Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasanna Vadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantahe. Namo Namah Sadgurubhya Sadgurubhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Namah Sadgurubhya Sadgurubhyo Namo Namaha. Satchidananda Rupaya Vishwotpatyadi Hetave Tapatraya Vinashaya Shri Krishnaya Vayam Numaha. Yam prabrajantamanopetamapeta Dvaipayano viraha katara ajuhava putreti tanmayataya tarvobhineduhu tam sarvabhuta hridayam munimanatosmi yasvanubhavam shrutisaramekam adhyatmadipam atititishatam tamondham samsarinam karunayaha purana guhyam tam vyasasunum upayami gurum muninam योगीन्द्राय नमस्तस्मै शुकाय ब्रह्मरूपिणे संसार सर्पदष्टं यो विष्णुरातम् अमूमुचते कालव्यालमुखग्रास त्रास निर्नाश हेतवे श्रीमद्भागवतं शास्त्रं कलौकीरेण भाषितम् एतस्मात् अपरं किञ्चित् मनःशुद्ध्येन विद्यते जन्मान्तरे भवेत् पुण्यं तदा भागवतं लभेत् ज्ञानवैराग्यसम्पन्नान् हरिभक्तिपरायणान् पूर्वाचार्यात् अहं वन्दे सम्प्रदाय प्रवर्तकान् भगवन्नाम साम्राज्य लक्ष्मी सर्वस्व विग्रहं श्रीमद्बोधेन्द्र योगीन्द्र देशिकेन्द्रम् उपास्महे कलिकालोचितं धर्मं नाम संकीर्तनात्मकं निर्णेतुमवतीर्णं तं प्रेमिकं सद्गुरुं भजे हरे रामेति कृष्णेति नाम संकीर्तनं सदा लोकक्षेमाय कुर्वन्तं प्रेमिकं सद्गुरुं भजे जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयात् इतरतश्चार्तेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि धर्मः प्रोज्झितकैतवोऽत्र परमो निर्मत्सराणां सतां वेद्यं वास्तवमत्र वस्तु शिवदं तापत्रयोन्मूलनम् श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परैरीश्वरः सद्यो हृद्यवरुध्यतेऽत्र कृतिभिः शुश्रूषिभिस्तत्क्षणात् निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखात् अमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् श्रीमद्भागवताख्योऽयं प्रत्यक्षः कृष्ण एव हि स्वीकृतोऽसि मया नाथ मुक्त्यर्थं भवसागरे मनोरथो मदीयोऽयं सफलः सर्वदा त्वया निर्विघ्नेनैव कर्तव्यो दासोऽहं तव केशव श्रीहरये नमः श्रीहरये नमः श्रीहरये नमः गोपिका जीवनस्मरणं गोविन्दा गोविन्द सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय Welcome everyone. Okay, so we'll do from 4.2 to 15, 14 to the end. So about like 50 stanzas, so about 25 each we can do. Maybe Sindhuji, you can do 25, and Shobha, you can do 25.
From 14, right?
Yeah, from 14. Yeah.
भवत्सु कुशलप्रश्नः आत्मा रामेषु नेष्यते कुशला कुशला यत्र न सन्ति मदिवृत्तयः तदहं कृतविश्रम्भः सुहृदो वस्तभस्विना सम्प्रच्छे भव एतस्मिन् क्षेमकेनाञ्जसा भवेद् व्यक्तमात्मवदाम् आत्मा भगवानात्मभावनः स्वानामनुग्रहाये मां सिद्धरूपी चरत्यजः मैत्रेय उवाच हृदोस्तत्सूक्तमाकर्ण्य सारं सुष्टुमिदं मधु स्मयमान इव प्रीत्या कुमारप्रत्युवाचः सनत्कुमार उवाच साधु पृष्टं महाराज सर्वभूतहितात्मना भवदा विदुषा चापि साधूनाम् अधिरीदृशी सङ्गमः खलु साधूनाम् उभयेषां च सम्मदः यत्सम्भाषणसम्प्रश्नः सर्वेषां विदनो दिशम् अस्त्येव राजन् भवतो मधुद्विषः पादारविन्दस्य गुणानुवादने रतिर्दुराभा विदुनोति नैष्टिकी कामं कषायं मलमन्दरात्मनः शास्त्रेष्यानेव सुनिश्चितो नृणां क्षेमस्य सदृक् विमृशेषु हेतुः असङ्ग आत्मव्यतिरिक्त आत्मनि दृढारतिर्ब्रह्मणि निर्गुणे च या सा श्रद्धया भगवद्धर्मचर्यया जिज्ञासयाध्यात्मिकयोगनिष्ठया योगेश्वरोपासनया च नित्यं पुण्यस्रवः कथया पुण्यया च अर्थेन्द्रिया रामसगोष्ठ्यतृष्णया तत्सम्मदानामपरिग्रहेण च विविक्तरुच्या परितोष आत्मन् विना हरेर्गुणपीयूषपानाद् अहिंसया पारमहंस्यचर्यया स्मृत्या मुकुन्दाचरिताग्र्यसीधुना यमैरकामैर्नियमैश्चाप्यनिन्दया निरीहया द्वन्द्वदिदीक्षया च हरेर्मुहुस्तत्परकर्णपूरगुणाभिधानेन विजृम्भमाणया भक्त्या ह्यसङ्गसदसत्यनात्मनि स्यानिर्गुणे ब्रह्मणि चाञ्जसारथिः यदारतिर्ब्रह्मणि नैष्टिकी पुमान् आचार्यवान् ज्ञानविरागहंहसा दहत्य वीर्यं हृदयं जीवकोशं पञ्चात्मकं योनिमिवोधितोऽग्निः दग्धाशयो मुक्तसमस्ततद्गुणो नैवात्मनो बहिरन्तर्विजष्टे परात्मनोर्यद्व्यवधानं पुरस्ताद् स्वप्ने यदा पुरुषस्त्वद्दिनाशे
So that tad vinashe, sorry.
स्वप्ने यदा पुरुषस्तद्विनाशे आत्मानमिन्द्रियार्थं च परं यदुभयोरपि सत्याशय उपाधौ वै पुमान् पश्यति नान्यदा निमित्ते सदि सर्वत्र जलादावपि पूरुषः आत्मनश्च परस्यापि पिदां पश्यति नान्यदा इन्द्रियैर्विषयाकृष्टैः आक्षिप्तं ध्यायतां मनः चेदनां हरदे बुद्धेः स्तम्भस्तोऽयमिव ह्रदाद् पृष्यत्यनुस्मृतिश्चित्तं ज्ञानभ्रंशस्मृतिक्षये तद्रोधं कवयः प्राहुः आत्माभन्नवमात्मनः नादः परतरो लोके पुंसः स्वार्थव्यतिक्रमः यदध्यन्यस्य प्रेयस्त्वम् आत्मनः स्वव्यतिक्रमाद् अर्थेन्द्रियार्थाभिध्यानं सर्वार्थापन्नवो नृणां भ्रंशितो ज्ञानविज्ञानाद् येनाविशति मुख्यतां न कुर्यात् कर्हिचित्सङ्गं तमस्तीव्रं तिदीरिषुः धर्मार्थकाममोक्षाणां यदत्यन्तविघातकं तत्रापि मोक्ष एवार्थः आत्यन्तिकतयेष्यते त्रैवर्ग्योऽर्थो यतो नित्यं कृतान्तभयसंयुधः परे वरे जये भावाः गुणव्यतिकरादनु न तेषां विद्यते क्षेमम् ईशविध्वंसिदाशिषां तत्त्वं नरेन्द्रजगदामदस्तुषां च देहेन्द्रियास्तु धिषणात्मभिव्यावृतानां यः क्षेत्रवित्तपदया हृदि विश्वगाविः प्रत्यक्षगास्ति भगवान् स्तमवेहि सोऽस्मि यस्मिन्निदं सदसदात्मदया विभाति माया विवेकविदुधिसृजिवा हि बुद्धिः तं नित्यमुक्तः परिशुद्धविबुद्धतत्त्वं प्रत्यूढकर्मकलिलप्रकृतिं प्रपद्ये यत्
It's 30, right? 30. Okay, maybe one more and we can stop here.
यत्पादपङ्कजपलाशविलासभक्त्या कर्माशयं ग्रदिदमुद्ग्रदयन्ति सन्दः तद्वन्नरिक्तमदयो यदयो विरुद्धस्रोतो गणास्तमरणं भज वासुदेवम्
ऋक्स्रो महानिह भवार्णवं ममप्लवेषां षड्वर्गनक्रमसुगेन तिदीरशन्ति तत्त्वं हरेर्भगवतो भजनीयमङ्घ्रिं कृत्वोडुपं व्यसनमुत्तर दुस्तरार्णं मैत्रेय उवाच स एवं ब्रह्मपुत्रेण कुमारेणात्ममेधसा दर्शितात्मगतिः सम्यक् प्रशस्योवाच तं नृपः राजोवाच कृतो मे निग्रहः पूर्वं हरिणार्दानुगम्बिना तमापादयितुं ब्रह्मन् भगवत्यूयमागताः निष्पादितश्च कात्स्न्येन भगवद्भिर्गृणालुभिः साधुचिष्टिदं हि मे सर्वम् आत्मना सह किं ददे प्राणाधारसुधा ब्रह्मन् गृहाश्च सपरिच्छदाः राज्यं बलं मही घोषः इति सर्वं निवेदितं सैनापद्यं च राज्यं च दण्डनेतृत्वमेव च सर्वलोकाधिपत्यं च वेदशास्त्रविदर्हति स्वमेव ब्राह्मणो पुङ्क्ते स्वं वस्ते स्वं ददाति च तस्यैवानुग्रहेणान्तं भुञ्जते क्षत्रियादः
And the just before the comma, grahen nanam, double na sound anga. Grahenanam.
ग्रहेणान्नं युञ्जते क्षत्रियादयः यैरीतृषि भगवतो गतिरात्मवादे एकान्ततो निगमभिप्रतिपादितानाः तुष्यन् वद प्रगुरुणा स्वगृतेन नित्यं को नाम तत्प्रति करोति विनोदपात्रं मैत्रेय उवाच आत्मयोगपदय आदिराजेन पूजिताः शीलं तदीयं शंसन्तः के भुवन्मिषदां नृणां वैन्यस्तु दुर्यो महतां संस्थित्यात्मन् शिक्षया आप्तकामभिवात्मानं मेने आत्मन्यवस्थितः कर्माणि च यथा कालं यदा देशं यदा बलं यदोचितं यदा वित्तम् अकरोत् ब्रह्म सात्कृतं बलं ब्रह्मणि विन्यस्य निर्विशङ्कः समाहितः कर्मात्यक्षं च मन्वानः आत्मानं प्रकृतेः परं गृहेषु वर्तमानोऽपि ससाम्राज्यश्रियान्वितः नासक्तेन्द्रियार्थेषु निरहं मदिरर्गवत् एवमत्यात्मयोगेन कर्माण्यनुसमाचरन् पुत्रानुत्पादयामास पञ्चाशिष्यात्मसम्मतान् विजिताश्वं धूम्रकेशं हर्यश्वं द्रविणं मृगं सर्वेषां लोकपालानां तदैरैकपृदुर्गुणान् गोपीदाय जगत्सृष्टेः काले स्वेच्छुतात्मकः मनो वाक् वृद्धिभिः सौम्यै तप्पु பண்ணிடுங்க
அங்க சௌமியைஹி வரைக்கும் கண்டினியூஸ் மனோவாக் விருத்திபிः சௌமியைஹி
मनोवाक् वृद्धिभिः सौम्यैः गुणैः संरज्ञयन् प्रजाः राजेत्यतान् नामधेयं सोमराज इवापरः सूर्यवत् विसृजन् गृह्णन् प्रदपंश्च भुवो वसु दुर्दर्शस्तेजसे वाग्निहितने
तेजसे वाग्निः
दुर्दर्शतेजसे वाग्निः महेन्द्र इव दुर्जयः तिदीक्षया दरिद्रीवद् यौरिवाभीष्टदो नृणां वर्षदि स्म यदा कामं पर्जन्य इव तर्पयन् समुद्र इव दुर्बोधः सत्त्वेनाचलराडिव धर्मारिव राडिव शिक्षायाम् आश्चर्ये हिमवानिव कुबेर इव घोषाढ्यो गुप्तार्थो वरुणो यदा
first word தர்மராடிவ
தர்மாட்டிவ சொல்லிருப்பேன் தர்மராடிவ.
Yeah.
मादरिष्वेव सर्वात्मा बलेन सह सौजसा अभिषय्यदा देवो भगवान् भूधराडिव गन्धर्पैव सौन्दर्ये मनस्वी भृगराडिव वात्सल्ये मनुबन्धॄणां प्रभुत्वे भगवानजः बृहस्पतिर्ब्रह्मवादे आत्मवद्ये स्वयं हरिः भक्त्या गो गुरुविप्रेषु विश्वक्सेनानुवर्तिषु प्रिया प्रश्रियाशीलाभ्यम् आत्मतुल्य परोत्यमे कीर्त्योर्त्वदीतया पुंभिः त्रैलोक्ये तत्र तत्र प्रविष्टकर्णान्द्रेषु स्त्रीणां रामः सतामिव इति श्रीमद् कर्णरन्ध्रेषु स्त्रीणां रामः सतामिव इति श्रीमद्भागवते महापुराणे पारमहंस्यां संहितायां चतुर्थस्कन्धे मृदुचरिते 12विंशोऽध्यायः। श्रीहरे नमः, श्रीहरे नमः, श्रीहरे नमः। गोपिका जीवन स्मरणं गोविंदा गोविंदा। सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय।
Very good. Okay, so we'll go to the last chapter of Prithu Charitram, which is the 23rd chapter. So far, we saw about everything that happened with how Prithu came about, first from the Anga and Vena, all of that story, then Prithu coming, right? How they got him out of that, and then all the things that happened with Prithu. And then last chapter, we saw how the Sanaka rishis had come, and then Sanat Kumaras gave all the knowledge to everyone who was assembled there. And towards the end, they talked about the greatness of Prithu, and then how they compared him to how he's like everybody. He's like Soma, he's like Indra, he's like, Vayu and Agni, and all of those people. They just compared his greatness to that, right? So this is the last chapter. Last is pretty much kind of a combination of Prithu and Archi getting liberated, and then the Palastuti of Prithu Charitram, like we had in Dhruva Charitram and everything else. So here it starts off, so when finally, after time has come, finally, when the old age is appearing, right? When Prithu is getting old, he now is getting ready to shift, right? So he was a grahastha, he was a ruler, but he still had a family, right? And he was still taking care of everything. For him, the entire kingdom is like a family that he had responsibilities. And now he's shifting into that Vanaprastha stage. So before leaving, right? And this is a very good lesson for everybody, for all of us, right? So he's saying before leaving, he makes sure that all the money and everything that he has, he makes sure he's actually distributing it. Because the moment it is still with you, it's still sitting in some savings account, then you will still get attached to it. So the first thing he does is he distributes all the things that he has to everybody else, right? And then the kingdom that he has, the money he has, all the resources, and he's ready to walk away, because that is the first step of Vanaprastha, is to be sure, are you ready to walk away from everything you have? If you're not quite ready to do that, that means you're not ready for Vanaprastha, right? And that's a big test. So Prithu is saying, I'm done with everything. So he gives everything away. He renounces everything. And then he also made sure that whatever responsibilities he has, which is as a king, he has responsibilities for the citizen. So he can't just walk away without proper delegation of responsibilities. So he made sure that, his children who are there, his sons who are there, are taking over the kingdom. He's delegating all of those things. And then he finally renounces his royal life that he has, and he heads over to the forest. And because he was a great king, it talks about how, the people who are there also feeling very grief, that he's actually leaving and they're going to miss him. So it talks about how that. So anyway, so with that, Prithu now enters the Vanaprastha stage. So then when he goes to the forest, he talks about how he was very dedicated in his previous life as a ruler. He had the same amount of dedication in his Vanaprastha life. So it gives very specific examples. So for example, when he goes there, he doesn't eat all the luxury food he has. So he only eats what is available in the forest, which is the trees, the tree barks, the leaves which are available, and the fruits which are actually available, and whatever water is available. And then he just survives on what is available there. That is the first thing. The second thing is, that first is for the mouth, right? Because it's what you're eating. The second, as part of the Ashtanga Yoga, is keeping your senses under control. And the way they do the senses under control, and he does some extreme examples, is something called as a Pancha Tapa. So in the middle of summer, when you already have Agni coming from the top, which is the sun, they keep 4 sides, they keep fire, and then they sit in the middle. So 5 sides, there is fire. So there's heat coming. Right? You should not worry about it. And and I was just talking Dashakam 4 today in my morning class on Ashtanga Yoga. So it talks about you are not getting attached to the senses and getting control over. So it literally talks about what he does. He does the Pancha Tapa, which is to get over the heat. And then on the rainy season, he's standing outside and doesn't care about the rain. And in the cold season, it talks about how he's standing on neck deep water in a cold season. Now, he's not doing this because he wants to trouble his body, right? The point being is you should not get attached to the body. So he is now trying to gain control over the senses. And the simple example you always say is when you're sitting at home, you're about to do your prayers, suddenly the temperature is too hot. Somebody has turned the heater on, or some temperature is too low, and you're getting very distracted when you're doing your prayers, right? The point he's trying to show is none of that stuff should disturb you truly. You should have control over your senses, to all the senses, which is what you are hearing, what you are smelling when you're praying, or what you are seeing when you're praying, when you go to the temple, or you're going to the temple, people are all talking to each other. It shouldn't matter to you. Let people talk what they want. You focus on what you come for, right? So that is keeping the senses under control. It is not ignoring things. It is about not getting distracted with everything that is going around you, right? That is a lesson he's teaching, which is all very difficult, right? But he's already at that level. So he's now not caring about all of these things, and he continues to do that. He talks about how he's sleeping on the floor, right? So he was a royal king, but he's sleeping on the floor. He's not worried about all of this. But main thing he talks about is how he gets his senses first under control. Once he gains his senses under control, then he gets his pranayama, he gets his breathing under control, right? And then his mind is actually getting under control as well. So all of this step by step, how he is actually keeping all of this under control as part of the Ashtanga Yoga process, right? And then as he continues to do this, his senses under control, mind, pranayama, breathing, everything becomes thing. Then more and more he gets devoted because he's beginning to see more and more of Bhagavan inside. His mind is getting purified because he's not getting distracted with all the things that is going on. And when he comes to that level, he's now the next layer, and literally to some extent, when we saw the Kapilopakyanam and when we see the cosmic creation, the layers which are actually getting built, he's literally tracing back, which is exactly what this is talking about. Everything from outside, you gain control, and then you gain more and more insight. The more and more inside he then comes to the realization that I am not this body. The things that I had did not truly belong to me. So he's overcoming that bodily identification. Once he overcomes the body identification, then he begins to realize that Bhagavan is inside of me. Now, I'm sitting here telling that Bhagavan is inside of everybody, but not everybody can truly feel. We don't communicate with the Bhagavan inside of us, right? But he reaches a point where he can feel that there is a Paramatma inside of him, just like how he's inside of everybody. So once he comes to the realization that there's a Paramatma inside of him, he doesn't have to care about anything else. He doesn't have to worry about jnana yoga, karma yoga, or any of that yoga, because he has direct communication, because he can feel the presence of Paramatma inside of him. So he says with that, he's gradually overcoming all of these illusions, right? And in this, the main thing at the end he's saying is he comes to the realization, not that he didn't know already, but he's telling to the realization that at the end of the day, the pure devotion, he's able to get that pure devotion going, which is the end state, which is what. So we all have a couple of choices, right? Now my grandfather also used to say that either you can go and do your own research and go do all these things, go through the entire process and come to a conclusion, or you can listen to somebody who has already gone through this, so you don't go and reinvent the wheel again, right? You don't have to go through the same process. Here Prithu is literally telling step by step how to do it. And he's saying at the very end is you need to have a devotion that you can feel Bhagavan inside of you. If you come to that point, then how you came about and all the other things he says is irrelevant, right? So he's now finally come to the realization, and then what he does is exactly the Ashtanga Yoga thing. He sits in the proper yogic posture. He's closing all the holes of his body, right? So it is a specific posture in which you sit. You keep your bottoms on your ankle, so it covers every hole. You shut your nose, not physically shut your nose, but you control the breathing. You shut your mouth, all of those things. He does it, and then he lifts his prana vayu from the Muladhara chakra. He gradually keeps lifting it, and then he brings it all the way up to the Sahasrara chakra, and his soul is ready to exit, right? Now, before he exits, now even that's the liberation state. Now he, like, if you think of our body itself, right, is made up of the Panchabhutam, right? It's got earth qualities in it. The bones, flesh, all is organic, right? It will just get absorbed into the earth. We have fluids inside of our body, which is the water. Then we all have Agni inside of us, which is helping us with digestion and the body heat. And we have Prana, which is the air inside of it. So we have empty space. So we have the Panchabhutam inside of us, right? So he understands how the composition of the body is. So he realizes that individually he knows it. So he knows he's not this body. He's not the bone. He's not the muscles, the flesh. He comes to the realization of all of that stuff. And finally, when he's exiting, right, he doesn't care about the body anymore because he knows all of this is going to go back to the source. Whatever air is inside my body is going to get merged with the air outside. Whatever body pieces parts I have is going to get organic and merge into the ground, right? So he withdraws it. So step by step he actually goes through it. So because if you look at how when we first talked, right, it talked about that one source, then it talked about this Mahat Tattva, which is a supreme consciousness. Then there was a layer which came around it, which was the Ahankara, the ego of me, right? And then it has the Manas, the mind, and then it has got the senses, and then it's got all of this, then the Panchabhutas, right? It's got all these layers. So essentially what he's doing is he's just doing a reverse tracking, right? He's just going through in reverse and shedding each one of it, very consciously shedding each one of it, right? Saying that the senses, I know I can control my senses, I can control my mind, I know I'm not this body, I know what my body is made up of. So it literally walks him step by step. He's going in the reverse direction, and by which he's not going to come back because he's understood all that is to be known, right? So with that, once he comes to the understanding, his soul then exits and then he gets fully liberated, right? So that way Prithu gets liberated halfway through this. Now, once Prithu is gone, along with Prithu, his wife Archi also left the kingdom, and she also went with him to the Vanaprastha state. So it talks a little bit about how Archi also gets liberated. So she also follows the same thing her husband is doing, right? And she also goes through the same challenges of not sleeping in a bed because she was also a queen. So she also goes through the same challenges, and she eats only what he was eating. And one day when he was in meditation, when he was in a kind of state of samadhi, Prithu then exits, his soul then exits. So Archie doesn't even realize that he's dead because she thinks he's still in a state of samadhi or meditating, right? And then when she touches him, she feels that his body has become cold. So then she comes to the realization that my husband has died, right? And then it talks about how she's not too upset about it. She's a little bit upset, it says. Of course, because she has some, but she also knows that I am not connected to him, that each soul is unique and it's all connected. Eventually I'm not connected to him in this husband wife, only in this birth. So she has that realization, right? So what she does is, because there's nobody else out there, she performs the funeral rites. It talks about how she performs tarpanam and how she lights a fire, and then she cremates Prithu there in the forest itself. And interestingly, it also says how she is also ready to give her body up. Now this is not like in India where the women jump into the fire because they want to be connected to the husband. This is not that. And this is not suicide, because the women who into it say that I want to be connected with my husband again, which means they still have association with the material body and they still have association with that person. So her realization is she has also come to the realization of what it is. So everything that Prithu went through, she has also come to the realization. So she is also willing to give up this material body that she has because she is now realized person also. So with that, she also self-immolates, right? With that, when she does, and it talks about how when she does is all these demigods, everybody come up there and they can see that both of them are getting liberated. That doesn't mean that both of them are going to get married in the afterlife and all of that stuff. They both are liberated, right? Because they know their relation as husband and wife only exist in this birth of theirs, right? So with that, Archie also gets liberated and she also goes to the same place where Prithu goes. So with that, this conversation between of Archie and Prithu getting liberated comes to an end, which is almost like 30 stanzas, and then we'll just go through the Palastuti towards the very end about the importance of Prithu Charitram and what you learn from that and what you get from that. Okay, all right. Let me see who I had today. Gomati Atte, you can be a student, and let me see who else was there. And a lot of people are not there today. Vijaya, you can be a student then. Ata, त्रयोविंशोऽध्यायः मैत्रेयो उवाच दृष्ट्वात्मानं प्रवयसं ब्रेकिंग एट दैट मा कॉमा एकदा वैन्य आत्मवान् आत्मना वर्धिताशेष पुट प्लस स्वानुसर्गः प्रजापतिः मैत्रेयो उवाच दृष्ट्वात्मानं प्रवयसम् एकदा वैन्य आत्मवान् आत्मना वर्धिताशेष स्वानुसर्गः प्रजापतिः
अत्त सुलभरा ना
Ate, you want to go Ate first or I don't know if she's still on mute. Okay.
दृष्ट्वा
Ate, your voice break audio break Ate.
I know, and my computer audio is so bad. I'm using
No, this is better. No, this is better now. நீங்க பேசும்போது கரெக்ட்டா இருந்தது.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I heard you, but you can next one, yeah. You can go ahead, Vijaya.
मैत्रेय उवाच दृष्ट्वात्मानं प्रवयसम् एकदा वैन्य आत्मवान् आत्मना वृत्तिताशेष स्वानुसर्गप्रजापतिः
Second line la vardhitasesha.
वर्धिताशेष ओके
Jagatas tastushash chapi, वृत्तिदो धर्म भृत्सदाम निष्पादितेश्वरादेशो one word निष्पादितेश्वरादेशो यदर्थमिह जग्निवान् जगतस्तस्तुषश्चापि वृत्तिदो धर्मभृत्सतां निष्पादितेश्वरादेशो यदर्थमिह जग्निवान्
जगतस्तुषश्चापि दो धर्मभृत्सताम् निष्पादितेश्वरादेशो यदर्थमिह जग्निवान्
जगतस्तस्तुषश्चापि वृत्तितो धर्मभृत्सतां निष्पादितेश्वरादेशो यदर्थमिह जज्ञिवान्
ஞா sound அது जग्निवान्
जज्ञिवान्
आत्म जेष्वात्मजां न्यस्य विरहाद रुदतीमिव I'm just breaking that dhru there virahad rudatimiva prajasu vimanasvekah sada rogat tapovanam आत्मजेष्वात्मजान्यस्य विरहाद रुदतीमिव प्रजासु विमनस्वेकः सदा रोगात् तपोवनम्
आत्मजेष्वात्मजाम्यस्य विरहाद्रुदतीम्
அவளோட ஆடியோ आत्मजेषु आत्मजाम्यस्य विरहात् रुदतीमिव प्रजासु विमनस्वेकः सदा रोगात् तपोवनम्.
And the first word ninga jeshu atmajam, like you said, those are the two words, but in the jeshu and the atmajam becomes jeshvatmajam. Ninga jeshu and atmajam, you said, right? And the shu and a becomes shwa, so jeshvatmajam.
Jeshvatmajam. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And the sandhi like becomes that way.
Okay.
Yeah. Tatrapya dhabya niyamo, vaikhanasa susammate arabda ugra tapasi, yatha swa vijaye pura. Tatrapya dhabya niyamo vaikhanasa susammate arabda ugra tapasi yatha swa vijaye pura.
प्राप्यदाभ्यनियमो वैखानससुसम्मते आरब्ध उग्रतपसि यथा स्वविजये पुरा
तत्राप्यताप्य नियमो वैघानससु सम्मते आरब्ध उक्रतपसि यदा विजये पुरा
कंद मूल फलाहारः शुष्क पर्णाशनः क्वचित् अभक्षः कतिचित् पक्षान् वायु भक्षस्ततः परम. Talks about everything that he eats. कंदमूल फलाहारः शुष्क पर्णाशनः क्वचित् अभक्षः कतिचित् पक्षान् वायु भक्षस्ततः परम.
कन्दमूलफलाहारः शुष्कपर्णाशनः क्वचित् अभक्षत् कतिचित् पक्षान् वायुभक्षस्ततः परम्.
कन्दमूलफलाहारः शुष्कपर्णाशनः क्वचित् अभक्षः कतिचित् पक्षान् वायुभक्षस्ततः परम्.
ग्रीष्मे पंचतपा वीरो वर्षाश्वासारशान् मुनिः. That's one long word, cannot break it. वर्षाश्वासारशान् मुनिः आकण्ठ मग्न शिशिरे उदके स्तण्डलेशयः. ग्रीष्मे sorry, go ahead. स्तण्डिलेशयः. Yeah, sorry. ग्रीष्मे पंचतपा वीरो वर्षाश्वासारशान् मुनिः आकण्ठमग्नः शिशिरे उदके स्तण्डिलेशयः.
ग्रीष्मे पंचतपा वीरो वर्षाश्वासारशान् मुनिः आकण्ठमग्नः शिशिरे उदके स्तण्डिलेशयः.
ग्रीष्मे पंचतपा वीरो वर्षाशुषारशान् मुनिः आकण्ठमग्नः शिशिरे उदके स्तण्डिलेशयः.
तितिक्षुर् यत वाग्दान्त ऊर्ध्वरेता जितानिलः आरिराध इषुः कृष्णं. ब्रेकिंग एट दैट मा कृष्णं. नेक्स्ट वर्स आचरत तप उत्तमम्. तितिक्षुर् यत वाग्दान्त ऊर्ध्वरेता जितानिलः आरिराध इषुः कृष्णम् आचरत तप उत्तमम्.
तितिक्षुर्यत वाग्दान्त ऊर्ध्वरेता जितानिलः आरिराधयिषु कृष्णम् अचरत् तप उत्तमम्.
तितिक्षुर्यत वाग्दान्त ऊर्ध्वरेता जितानिलः आरिराध इयुक्ष कृष्णम् अचरत् तप उत्तमम्.
आरिराध इषुः कृष्णम्.
आरिराध इषु कृष्णम् अचरत् तप उत्तमम्.
तेन क्रमानुसिद्धेन ध्वस्त कर्मामलाशयः प्राणायामैः सन्निरुद्ध पुट प्लस षड् वर्गश्छिन्न बन्धनः. तेन क्रमानुसिद्धेन ध्वस्त कर्मामलाशयः प्राणायामैः सन्निरुद्ध षड् वर्गश्छिन्न बन्धनः. Again, it has become worse that they and the sound. I don't know. It's like as if some water has gone into your speakers.
I don't know.
See, when you're talking, it's very clear. When you're talking, it's very clear.
Because என்னோட computer சரியா இல்லைன்னா I am using an external speaker to listen to. So அதனால maybe ஒன்னோட ஒன்னு இது பண்றதோ என்னமோ interfere பண்றதா தெரியல.
Yeah, no, because when you're speaking now, there's no interference. It is very clear. But when you're chanting, somehow there is some noise coming. Anyway, yeah.
கொஞ்சம் சமந்தா. I don't know.
Yeah, no,
तेन क्रमानुसिद्धेन त्वस्तकर्ममलाशयः प्राणायामैः सन्धिरुद्ध षट्पत्कच्छिन्न पन्तनः
सनत कुमारो भगवान कॉमा यदाहाध्यात्मिकं परम योगम तेनैव पुरुषम ब्रेकिंग at that ma comma next word starts with a abhajat purusharshavaha सनत कुमारो भगवान यदाहाध्यात्मिकं परम योगम तेनैव पुरुषम अभजत पुरुषर्षभः
सनत्कुमारो भगवान् यदाहाध्यात्मिकं परं योगं तेनैव पुरुषम् अभजत् पुरुषर्षभः
सनत्कुमारो भगवान् यदाहात्यात्मिकं परं योगं तेनैव पुरुषम् अभजत् पुरुषर्षभः
भगवद धर्मिणस् साधोः कॉमा श्रद्धया यततः सदा भक्तिर्भगवति brahmani. So if you have a nya there, we're going to break it. Brahmani, put a ni there, comma. Next word starts with a ananya vishaya bhavat. Bhagavad dharmina sadhoho shraddhaya yatata sadha bhaktir bhagavati brahmani ananya vishaya bhavat.
भगवद् धर्मिणः साधोः श्रद्धया यततः सदा भक्तिर्भगवति ब्रह्मणि अनन्यविषया भवत्
भगवद्धर्मिणः साधोः श्रद्धया यततः सदा भक्तिर्भगवति ब्रह्मणि अनन्यविषया भवत्
तस्यानया भगवतः परिकर्म शुद्ध put a plus सत्वात्मनस् तदनु संस्मरणानुपूर्त्या so that line is together ज्ञानं विरक्ति मदभून् निशितेन येन comma चिच्छेद संशय पदं निज जीव कोशम तस्यानया भगवतः परिकर्म शुद्धः सत्वात्मनस्तदनु संस्मरणानुपूर्त्या ज्ञानं विरक्तिमदभून्निशितेन येन चिच्छेद संशयपदं निजजीवकोशम्
तस्यानया भगवतः परिशुद्धः सत्त्वात्मनस्तदनुपूर्त्या ज्ञानं विरक्तिमदभून्निशितेन येन चिच्छेदसंशयपदं निजजीवकोशम्
तस्यानया भगवतः परिकर्म शुद्धः सत्त्वात्मनस्तदनु संस्मरणानुपूर्त्या ज्ञानं विरक्तिमदभून्निशितेन येन चिच्छेद संशयपदं निजजीवकोशम्
छिन्नान्य धीर breaking at that ra धीर अधिगतात्म गतिर nirihah that is goes away visarga comma nirihah then the next word is full word is together tat tatyaje chinadidam cannot break that word so you have to say it together tat tatyaje chinadidam vayunena yena tavanna yoga gatibhir yatira pramatto comma yavad gadagraja kathasu ratimna kuryat छिन्नान्यधीर अधिगतात्मगतिर्निरीहः तत्तत्यजेच्छिनदिदं वयुनेन येन तावन्न योगगतिभिर्यतिरप्रमत्तो यावद्गदाग्रजकथासु रतिं न कुर्यात्
छिन्नान्यधीरधिगतात्मगतिर्निरीह तत्तत्यजेच्छिनदिदं तत्तत्यजेच्छिनदिदं वयुनेन येन तावन्न योगगतिभिर्यतिरप्रमत्तो यतिरप्रमस्तो यावज्जदाग्रजगत्कथासुरतिं न कुर्यात्
छिन्नान्यधीरधिकदात्म कदिर्निरीहः तत्तत्यजेच्छिन थिदें वयुनेन येन तावन्न योग कदिभिर्यदिरप्रमेतो यावत् कदा क्रज कदा सुरतिं न कुर्यात्.
The first line la tatyajet chinadidam.
तत्तत्यजेच्छिनदिदम्.
Yeah. Evam sa veera prabaraha, comma, संयोज्यात्मानम, one word, संयोज्यात्मानम आत्मनि ब्रह्म भूतो दृढ़म काले, comma, तत्याज स्वम कलेवरम. एवं
அந்த செகண்ட் வந்து சம்யோஜ்யாத்மானம்னு இருக்குல்ல, சையோஜ்யாத்மானமா
அது வந்து அந்த see அந்த dot which is there in Sanskrit that takes different sound depending on what word is coming, so to be technically correct, but samyojatmanam is also not wrong, but sanyojat and that is a natural sound that comes because of the ya coming later, but ya and ja coming. So evam savira pravaraha संयोज्यात्मानमात्मनि ब्रह्म भूतो दृढ़ं काले तत्याजस्वं कलेवरम्.
एवं सवीर प्रवरः संयोज्यात्मानम् आत्मनि ब्रह्मभूतो दृढं काले तत्याजस्वं कलेवरम्.
We'll just switch second round. Amuchichi, you can be a student, and Vani Garu, you can be a student. Sampidya payum parshnibhyam, comma, vayum utsarayan shanaihi nabhyam košteshvavasthapya, one word, comma, hridurah kantha shirshani. Sampidya payum parshnibhyam vayum utsarayan shanaihi नाभ्याम कोष्ठेष्वस्थाप्य हृदुरः कंठशीर्षनि.
संपीड्यपायुं पार्ष्णिभ्यां वायुमुत्सारयन् शनैः नाभ्यां कोष्ठेष्वस्थाप्य हृदुरः कण्ठशीर्षणि.
सम्पीड्यपायुं पार्ष्णिभ्यां वायु उत्सारयन् शनैः नाभ्यां कोष्ठेष्वस्थाप्य हृदरः कण्ठशीर्षणि.
उत्सर्पयंस्तु तं मूर्ध्नि, कॉमा, क्रमेणावेश्य निस्पृह वायुं वायौ क्षितौ कायं, कॉमा, तेजस्य युयुजते.
Rajesh, is there a visarga after first line?
No, spruha, nispruha. No visarga.
No visarga. Okay.
No visarga there, no.
Okay, thank you.
उत्सर्पयंस्तु तं मूर्ध्नि क्रमेणावेश्य निस्पृह वायुं वायौ क्षितौ कायं तेजस्तेजस्य युयुजते.
उत्सर्पं यंस्तु तं मूर्ध्नि क्रमेणावेश्य निःस्पृह वायुं वायौ क्षितौ कायं तेजस्तेजस्य युयुजत.
Amuchichi, that first word, utsarp, there's no in there. I heard an im sound there. Just utsarp. Utsarpayamstu
तं मूर्ध्नि.
Yeah, that's correct, yeah.
उत्सर्पयंस्तु तं मूर्ध्नि क्रमेणावेश्य निःस्पृहः वायुं वायौ क्षितौ कायं तेजस्तेजस्य युयुजत्.
Manikaru, there's no visarga at the end of the first. It's just nispriha only. Yeah, I don't know if I said it by mistake, but no visarga there.
I had it. Maybe it is not. Okay.
Oh, you have. Oh, okay.
We have it too, Rajesh ji.
Yeah,
Okay.
my book had it too.
Okay, I'll check. Okay, this I don't know Atte, if you had any recommendation. I don't know. My book does not have it, so I don't know if it should be there or not. Okay, I'll check and see anyways after this. खान्याकाशे द्रवं तोये, कॉमा यथा स्थानं विभागशः क्षितिम् अम्बसि तत्तेजस्, put a plus, तेजस् यदो वायौ नभस्यमुम्. So that line is continuous. खान्याकाशे द्रवं तोये यथा स्थानं विभागशः क्षितिमम्बसि तत्तेजस् यदो वायौ नभस्यमुम्.
खान्याकाशे द्रवं तोये यथा स्थानं विभागशः क्षितिमम्बसि तत्तेजस् यदो वायौ नभस्यमुम्
ख्यान्याकाशे द्रवं तोये यथा स्थानं विभागशः क्षितिमम्भसि तत्तेजस्यदो वायौ नभस्यमुम्.
When you go to the first letter sound, it's ka, not kya. I heard a kya
Yeah.
sound.
Okay.
Kanyakashi. Okay.
Khanyakashe. Yeah.
Indriyeshu manastani, comma, tanmatreshu yatodbhavam, bhutadinamun yutkrishya. One word cannot break it. Bhutadinamun yutkrishya, comma, mahatyatmani sandadhe. इन्द्रियेषु मनस्तानि तन्मात्रेषु यतोद्भवम् भूतादिनामून्युत्कृष्य महत्यात्मनि सन्दधे.
इन्द्रियेषु मनस्तानि तन्मात्रेषु यदोद्भवम् भूतादिनामुन्युत्कृष्य महत्यात्मनि सन्धते
इन्द्रियेषु मनस्तानि यन्मात्रेषु यतोद्भवं भूतादिनां युत्कृष्य महत्यात्मनि सन्दधे.
First line after the comma, tanmatreshu.
Okay. इन्द्रियेषु मनस्तानि तन्मात्रेषु यतोद्भवम्.
तं सर्व गुणविन्यासं, comma, जीवे मायामये न्यधात् तं चानुशयम् आत्मस्तं, bracket that ma, आत्मस्तं, comma, असावनुशयी पुमान्, ज्ञान वैराग्य वीर्येण, comma, स्वरूप स्तोजहात् प्रभुः. तं सर्वगुणविन्यासं जीवे मायामये न्यधात् तं चानुशयमात्मस्थम् असावनुशयी पुमान् ज्ञानवैराग्यवीर्येण स्वरूपस्थोजहात् प्रभुः.
तं सर्वगुणविन्यासं जीवे मायामये न्यथात् तं चानुशयमात्मस्थम् असावनुशयी पुमान् ज्ञानवैराग्यवीर्येण स्वरूपस्थो जहात् प्रभुः
तं सर्वगुणविन्यासं जीवे मायामयेऽन्यथाद् जीवे मायामयेऽन्यधात् तं चानुशयमात्मस्थम् असावनुशयी पुमान् ज्ञानवैराग्यवीर्येण स्वरूपस्थो जहात् प्रभुः.
This was about Prithu getting liberated. Next few stanzas on Archi. Archirnama Maharagni, comma, Tat Patnyanugata Vanam, one word, Su Kumarya Tadarhacha, comma, Yet Padhyam Sparshanam Bhuvaha. Archirnama Maharagni, Tat Patnyanugata Vanam, Sukumarya Tadarhacha, Yat Padhyam Sparshanam Bhuvaha.
Rajesh, second line, is there a sa before the
No, Su. No,
just
Su.
Sukumar.
Sukumarya Tadarhacha.
Thank you. अर्चिर्नाम महाराज्ञी तत्पत्न्यनुगदावनं सुकुमार्य तदर्हा च यत्पद्भ्यां स्पर्शनं भुवः
अर्चिर्नाम महाराज्ञी तत्पत्न्यानुगतावनं सुकुमार्य तदर्हा च तत्पद्भ्यां स्पर्शनं भुवः.
Second line, यत् पद्भ्याम्
यत्पद्भ्यां स्पर्शनं भुवः
अतीव भर्तुर्व्रत धर्म निष्ठया शुश्रूषया चारश देह यात्रया नाविन्दतार्तिं परिकर्षितापि सा प्रेयस्कर स्पर्शन मान निर्वृतिः अतीव भर्तुर्व्रत धर्म निष्ठया शुश्रूषया चारश देह यात्रया नाविन्दतार्तिं परिकर्षितापि सा प्रेयस्कर स्पर्शन मान निर्वृतिः
अतीव भर्तृव्रतधर्मनिष्ठया शुश्रूषया चारश देहयात्रया नाविन्दतार्तिं परिकर्षितापि सा प्रेयस्करस्पर्शनमाननिर्वृतिः
अतीव भर्तुर्व्रतधर्मनिष्ठया शुश्रूषया चारश देहयात्रया नाविन्दतार्तिं परिकर्षितापि सा प्रेयस्करस्पर्शनमाननिर्वृतिः
देहं विपन्नाखिल चेतनादिकं पत्युः पृथिव्या दयितस्य चात्मनः आलक्ष्य किञ्चिच्च विलप्य सा सती चिताम, breaking at that ma, and then next word is going to come continuously, chitam atharopayat adri sanuni. That word is difficult to break it too much, so up to the chitam you can break it. देहं विपन्नाखिलचेतनादिकं पत्युः पृथिव्या दयितस्य चात्मनः आलक्ष्य किञ्चिच्च विलप्य सा सती चिताम् अधारोपयदद्रिसानुनी
देहं विपन्नाखिलचेतनादिकं पत्युः पृथिव्या दयितस्य चात्मनः आलक्ष्य किञ्चिच्च विलप्य सा सती चिदामधारोपयदद्रिसानुनी
देहं विपन्नाखिलचेतनादिकं पत्युः पृथिव्या दयितस्य चात्मनः आलक्ष्य किञ्चिच्च विलप्य सा सती चिन्तामथो चितामथारोपयदद्रिसानुनी
विधाय कृत्यं ह्रदिनी जलाप्लुता दत्वोदकं भर्तुरुदारकर्मणः नत्वा दिवि स्तांस् इस् त्रिदशांस् त्रिःपरीत्य. Okay, so you can take it as divi stams tridashams त्रिःपरीत्य, विवेश वह्निं ध्यायति भर्तृपादौ. विधाय कृत्यं ह्रदिनी जलाप्लुता दत्वोदकं भर्तुरुदारकर्मणः नत्वा दिविस्तांस् त्रिदशांस् त्रिःपरीत्य विवेश वह्निं ध्यायति भर्तृपादौ.
विधाय कृत्यं हृदिनी जलाप्लुता दत्तोदगं भर्तृरुदारकर्मणः नत्वा दिविंस्तांस्त्रिदशांस्त्रिः परीत्य विवेशवह्निं ध्यायति भर्तृपादौ.
Amujit, the second line, first part, that is just divi, no im or in sound there, just divi stams.
दिवि स्तांस्त्रिदशांस्त्रिः परीत्य
विधाय कृत्यं हदिनी जलाप्लुता दत्वोदकं भर्तुरुदारकर्मणः नत्वा त्रिदशांस्त्रिपरीत्य विवेशवह्निं ध्यायति भर्तृपादौ.
बिलोक्यानुगतां साध्वीं पृतुं वीरवरं पतिं तुष्टुवुर्वरदा देवैः विसर्ग देवपत्न्यः सहस्रशः. बिलोक्यानुगतां साध्वीं पृतुं वीरवरं पतिं तुष्टुवुर्वरदा देवैः देवपत्न्यः सहस्रशः.
विलोक्यानुगदां साध्वीं पृथुं वीरवरं पदिं तुष्टुवुर्वरदा देवैः देवपत्न्यः सहस्रशः
विलोक्यानुगतां साध्वीं पृथुं वीरवरं पतिं तुष्टुवुर्वरदा देवैः देवपत्न्यः सहस्रशः
कुर्वत्यः कुसुमासारं तस्मिन् मन्दर सानुनि न दत्स्वमरतूर्येषु गृह्णन्ति स्म परस्परम् कुर्वत्यः कुसुमासारं तस्मिन् मन्दरसानुनि न दत्स्वमरतूर्येषु गृह्णन्ति स्म परस्परम्.
None of us want to.
कुर्वत्यः कुसुमासारं तस्मिन् मन्दरसानुनि न दत्स्वमरतूर्येषु गृह्णन्ति स्म परस्परम्
कुर्वत्यः कुसुमासारं तस्मिन् मन्दरसानुनि मरतूर्येषु गृह्णन्ति स्म न दत्स्वमरतूर्येषु गृह्णन्ति स्म परस्परम्.
Correct. You said it correct, but I'm just saying that one correction. Then this just to correct things. Na datswamara. That's one word. Okay. Because that's nadatsu amara, so that becomes one word. Nadatswamara. But you said it correct second time.
Okay.
Devya uchuhu. So now the Devis, right? So the wives of the demigods are talking about how Archie is so blessed and how she's committed and how both of them are reaching liberation. That's the next few stanzas. Devya uchuhu aho iyam vadur dhanya, ya chaivam bhubujam patim sarvatmana patim bheje yajnesham shrir vadhuriva. Devya uchuhu aho iyam vadhurdhanya ya chaivam bhubujam patim sarvatmana patim bheje yajnesham shrir vadhuriva.
देव्य ऊचुः अहो इयं वधूर्धन्या या चैवं भूभुजां पदिं सर्वात्मना पदिं भेजे यज्ञेशं श्रीर्वधूरिव
देव्य ऊचुः अहो इयं वधूर्धन्या या चैवं भूभुजां पतिं सर्वात्मानां पतिं भेजे यज्ञेशं श्रीर्वधूरिव.
Second line, first word, sarvatmana.
Sarvatmana. Yeah.
Saisha noonam brajat yurdhvam, break at that ma, yurdhvam, anu vainyam patim sati pashyatasman, breaking at that na, pashyatasman atityarchihi, visarga, atityarchihi, durvibhavyena karmana. Saishanunam brajat yurdhvam anu vainyam patim sati pashyatasman atityarchihi durvibhavyena karmana.
सैषानूनं व्रजत्यूर्ध्वम् अनुवैन्यं पदिं सति पश्यदास्मान् अदित्यार्चिः दुर्विभाव्येन कर्मणा
सैषानूनं व्रजत्यूर्ध्वम् अनुवैन्यं पतिं सति पश्यतास्मान् अतीत्यार्चिः दुर्विभाव्येन कर्मणा.
We'll switch here. I'm just going to quickly run through from stanza 30 through 39 meaning, which is really the Palastuti of Prithu Charitram. So Maitreya is continuing here saying that this way, Vidura, I've told you everything that is to know about Prithu, right? About his character, about all the things he did. And, as like we went through 6 or 7 chapters of Prithu Charitram, right? So the Palastuti for Prithu Charitram is literally very similar to that of Vishnu Sahasranamam. So in Vishnu Sahasranamam, you see, the stuff, right? That Vedanta go Brahmana syat Kshatriyo Vijayi Bhavet Vaishyo Dhana Samudra syat Shudra Sukamavapnuyat. So whatever each of them, according to their Dharmarthi Prapniya Dharmam, So whatever he's saying, the same thing he's going to say here, saying that whoever is reading, whoever is chanting the Prithu Charitra, whether you are reading it or you are hearing it or you are helping others, whatever, is definitely on the right path because of the same thing. He says whoever hears about it, if it's a Brahmana, because the Brahmana, the purpose, if it's a Brahmana, like I said, the only thing you need to be as a Brahmana is you need to have those qualities, right? So you need more devotion, you need all of those things. So if you are like a Brahmana, then you are going to be endowed with more of this. If you are a Kshatriya, that is who wants wealth and power and all of that stuff, you will get the wealth and power. If you are a Vaishya, who's a merchant or a finance, you're going to become a master. You're going to become more master over other people and everything. You're going to get the leadership qualities, and if you're a Shudra, then you'll become a great devotee. So each one is going to get whatever is appropriate for what they want, right? And it says, it doesn't matter if you're a man or if you're a woman or whatever caste or anything. There's nothing of that stuff. Whoever listens to it with great attention, if you don't have children and you want children, then you'll get children. If you want money, you'll get money. So each one can get what they want. If you want liberation, you will get liberation. So each one, depending on what you want, you will get the appropriate benefits, because Prithu really has, in terms of everything, he's kind of said how to lead the life, how to lead a grahastha, how to lead a vanaprastha life. And whoever wants to narrate about this, talk about it, and wants to get liberated over a long period of time, you can't just do it once and expect it, right? But over regular thing, you get it, you'll get these benefits. And he says if you're going into like for kings, but it also applies to anybody who is going into anything, you chant it multiple times and go, it will give you the confidence to win over your enemies. And if it's a pure devotee, even he says the greatest of devotees should also do it, because what it is doing, it's reinforcing that belief, right? It's reinforcing that you have to have that belief, you have to have devotion, and you have to have that bhakti. It is continuing to reinforce it. So it says even if you are a full believer and a true devotee who doesn't want anything, even then you have to read Prithu Charitram and hear about Prithu Charitram, because it again reinforces that belief. So again, he ends with it saying that it is not just hearing about the story, it will have a direct impact on your heart as well. And so continue to chant Prithu Charitram, hear about it very strictly, because it talks about, primarily it says, it talks about devotion, it talks about complete surrender that he had, and detachment, right? Those are the three main lessons that Prithu Charitram is teaching. So it applies to everybody, no matter which state of life you are in. And one of the things that Sanat Kumara also said is that if the world of samsara is an ocean which is filled with other aquatic animals which are trying to eat you, which are all the disturbances, and he says you make Bhagavan the boat and then ride that ocean. So he says this is going to reinforce that belief for you, is that hold on to that Bhagavan, hold on to the devotion, and he will be the boat which will take you through samsara. So very similar Phalastuti to Vishnu Sahasranamam here as well. Okay, so we just try to get to the last portion. Sabita, you can be a student, and Sudha, you can be a student. Okay, I think we finished at 27. Let me start. Tesham durapam kim twanyat. So that if you have an in there, that becomes a it there. Twanyat, comma. Martyanam bhagavat padam bhuvi lolayusho evai, comma. Naishkarmyam sadayantyuta. Tesham durapam kim twanyat. Martyanam bhagavat padam bhuvi lolayusho evai Naishkarmyam sadayantyuta.
तेषां दुरापं किं त्वन्यत् मर्त्यानां भगवत्पदं भुवि लोलायुषो ये वै नैष्कर्म्यं साधयन्त्युत
तेषां दुरापं हि किं त्वदन्यत् मर्त्यानां भगवत्पदं भुवि लोलायुषे ये वै नैष्कर्म्यं साधयन्त्युत.
Second line la lolayusho.
Okay, lolayusho ye vai.
Sa vanchito patatma druk, krichrena mahata bhuvi labdvapa vargyam manushyam, vishayeshu vishajyate. Sa vanchito patatma druk krichrena mahata bhuvi labdvapa vargyam manushyam vishayeshu vishajyate.
सवञ्चितो बतात्मदृक् कृच्छ्रेण महता भुवि लब्ध्वापवर्ग्यं मानुष्यं विषयेषु विसज्जते
सवञ्चितो बतात्मदृक् कृच्छ्रेण महता भुवि लब्ध्वापवर्ग्यं मानुष्यं विषयेषु विसज्जते।
मैत्रेय उवाच स्तुवतीष्वमर स्त्रीषु पतिलोकं गता वधूः यं वाम् आत्मविदां धुर्यो वैन्यः प्रापाच्युताशयः. One word, प्राप अच्युत आशयः. 3 words there. मैत्रेय उवाच स्तुवतीष्वमरस्त्रीषु पतिलोकं गता वधूः यं वा आत्मविदां धुर्यो वैन्यः प्रापाच्युताशयः.
मैत्रेय उवाच स्तुवतीष्वमरस्त्रीषु पतिलोकं गता वधूः यं वा आत्मविदां धुर्यो वैन्यः प्रापाच्युताश्रयः
मैत्रेय उवाच स्तुवतीष्वमरस्त्रीषु पतिलोकं गता वधूः यं वा आत्मविदां धुर्यो वैन्यप्रापाच्युताशयः।
इत्थं भूतानुभावोऽसौ पृथुः स भगवत्तमः कीर्तितं तस्य चरितं ब्रेकिंग एट दैट मार्क उद्धाम चरितस्य ते. इत्थं भूतानुभावोऽसौ पृथुः स भगवत्तमः कीर्तितं तस्य चरितं उद्धाम चरितस्य ते.
इत्थं भूतानुभावोऽसौ पृथुः स भगवत्तमः कीर्तितं तस्य चरितम् उद्दामचरितस्य ते.
इत्थं भूतानुभावोऽसौ पृथुः स भगवत्तमः कीर्तितं तस्य चरितम् उद्धामचरितस्य ते.
य इदं सुमहत् पुण्यं श्रद्धया वहितः पठेत् श्रावयेच् शृणुयद्वापि स पृतोः पदवीम् इयात्. य इदं सुमहत् पुण्यं श्रद्धया वहितः पठेत् श्रावयेत् शृणुयद्वापि स पृतोः पदवीम् इयात्.
ராஜேஷ் அங்க ஸ்ருணுயாத்னு இருக்கு. ஸ்ருணுயாத்
எந்த
ஸ்ராவயே ஸ்ருணுயாத் வாபின்னு இருக்கு.
ஸ்ருணுயத் வாபி தான் இருக்கு.
My book also has yad.
31. Yes, I think Shrunuyad only makes sense there. Okay. I'll correct my book.
Thank you, Rajesh.
Yes.
ययिदं सुमहत् पुण्यं श्रद्धया वहितः पठेत् श्रावयेत् शृणुयाद् वापि स पृथोः पदवीम् इयात्.
य इदं सुमहत् पुण्यं श्रद्धया वहितः पठेत् श्रावयेत् शृणुयात् वापि स पृथो पदवीम् इयात्.
ब्राह्मणो ब्रह्म वर्चस्वी राजन्यो जगति पतिः वैश्यः पठन् विट्पतिः स्यात् शूद्रः सत्तमतामियात्. ब्राह्मणो ब्रह्म वर्चस्वी राजन्यो जगति पतिः वैश्यः पठन् विट्पतिः स्यात् शूद्रः सत्तमतामियात्.
Rajesh, that second line after the comma, what is the letter?
Syach.
Sya. Okay. Thank you, Rajesh.
ब्राह्मणो ब्रह्मवर्चस्वी राजन्यो जगति पतिः वैश्यः पठन् विट्पतिः स्यात् शूद्रः सत्तमतामियात्.
ब्राह्मणो ब्रह्मवर्चस्वी राजन्यो जगति पतिः वैश्यः पठन् विट्पतिः स्यात् शूद्रः सत्तमतामियात्.
विकृत्व इदमाकर्ण्य नरो नार्यत्रवाधृता अप्रजस् सुप्रजतमो निर्धनो धनवत्तमः त्रिकृत्व इदमाकर्ण्य नरो नार्यतवा धृता अप्रजः सुप्रजतमो निर्धनो धनवत्तमः
विकृत्व इदमाकर्ण्य नरो नार्यथवा धृता अप्रजः सुप्रजतमो निर्धनो धनवत्तमः
त्रिकृत्व इदमाकर्ण्य नरो नार्यत वा धृता अप्रजः सुप्रजतमो निर्धनो धनवत्तमः
अस्पष्ट कीर्तिः सुयशा मूर्खो भवति पंडितः इदं स्वस्त्येनं पुंसां अमंगल्य निवारणम. You see, one time it also says you do 3 times and multiple times and it just gives extra. That's what it's talking about. Aspashta kirtesu yasha murkho bhavati panditah idam swastyayanam pumsam amangalya nivaranam.
अस्पष्टकीर्तिस्सु यशा मूर्खो भवति पंडितः इदं स्वस्य यनं पुंसाम् अमङ्गल्यनिवारणम्
अस्पष्टकीर्तिः सुयशा मूर्खो भवति पंडितः इदं स्वस्त्ययनं पुंसाम् अमङ्गल्यनिवारणम्
Dhanyam. Yeah.
Rajesh, here in the first line also, suspasht kartis sayashaha is what I have.
No, I don't have the Visarga.
Suyashaha.
No. I'll check it, but I don't seem to have that. I'll check. Dhanyam yashasyam ayushyam, swargyam kali malapaham dharmartha kama mokshanam, samyak siddhim abhipsubhi shraddhayaitat anushravhyam, chaturnam karanam param. Chaturnam karanam param. Dhanyam yashasyam swargyam kalimalaapaham dharmartha kama mokshanam samyak siddhim abhipsubhi shraddhayetat anushravyam chaturnam karanam param.
धन्यं यशस्यमायुष्यं स्वर्गं कलिमलापहं धर्मार्थकाममोक्षाणां सम्यक् सिद्धिमपि सुभिः श्रद्धयैतत् अनुश्राव्यं चतुर्णां कारणं परम्
धन्यं यशस्यम् आयुष्यं स्वर्ग्यं कलिमलापहं धर्मार्थकाममोक्षाणां सम्यक् सिद्धिम् अभीप्सुभिः श्रद्धयेतत् अनुश्राव्यं चतुर्णां कारणं परम्
Bijayabhimuko raja, Shrutwaitat abhiyatiyan, just breaking at the da, abhiyatiyan, balim tasmai harantyagre, rajanaf pritave yatha. Bijayabhimuko raja, Shrutwaitat abhiyatiyan, balim tasmai harantyagre, rajanaf pritave yatha.
विजयाभिमुखो राजा श्रुत्वैतत् अभियाति यान् बलिं तस्मै हरन्त्यग्रे राजानः पृतवे यथा
विजयाभिमुखो राजा श्रुत्वैतत् अभियाति यान् बलिं तस्मै हरन्त्यग्रे राजानः पृतवे यथा
Muktanya sango bhagavati. So the thya that you have there, break it into ti and a. Bhagavati, amalam bhaktim udvahan vainyasya charitam punyam, shrunuyaj shravayet pathet. Muktanya sango bhagavati amalam bhaktim udvahan vainyasya charitam punyam shrunuyat shravayet pathet.
मुक्तान्यसङ्गो भगवति अमलां भक्तिमुद्वहन् वैन्यस्य चरितं पुण्यं शृणुयात् श्रावयेत् पठेत्
मुक्तान्यसङ्गो भगवति अमलां भक्तिमुद्वहन् वैन्यस्य चरितं पुण्यं शृणुयात् श्रावयेत् पठेत्.
This is where it says, Muktanya Sango Bhagavati, even as the greatest of devotee who is free from all these material attachments, even that devotee should shrunuyat, should listen, should shravayet, should teach, and patet, should read the Prithu Charitam, even if you do not have any material attachments. Vaichitra Viryabhihitam, Mahan Mahatmya Suchakam, Asmin Kritamatir Martyah, Parthavim Gatimapnuyat. Vaichitra Viryabhihitam, Mahan Mahatmya Suchakam, Asmin Kritamatir Martyah, Parthavim Gatimapnuyat.
वैचित्रवीर्याभिहितं महन्माहात्म्यसूचकम् अस्मिन् कृतमतिर्मर्त्यः पार्थवीं गतिमाप्नुयात्
वैचित्रवीर्याभिहितं महन्माहात्म्यसूचकम् अस्मिन् कृतमतिर्मर्त्यः पार्थवीं गतिमाप्नुयात्. पार्थवीं गतिमाप्नुयात्.
Anu dinam idam adarena shrunvanne, Prutucharitam pratayan vimukta sangah, Bhagavati bhava sindhu pota pade, Sacha nipunam labhate ratim manushyah. Anudinamidam adarena shrunvanne, Prutucharitam pratayan vimukta sangah, Bhagavati bhava sindhu poda pade, Sacha nipunam labhate ratim manushyah.
अनुदिनमिदमादरेण शृण्वन् पृथुचरितं प्रतयन् विमुक्तसङ्गः भगवति भवसिन्धुपोतपादे स च निपुणां लभते रतिं मनुष्यः
अनुदिनमिदमादरेण शृण्वन् ऋतुचरितं प्रतयन् विमुक्तसङ्गः भगवति भवसिन्धुपोतपादे स च निपुणां लभते रतिं मनुष्यः.
इति श्रीमद्भागवते महापुराणे पारमहंस्यां संहितायां चतुर्थस्कन्धे त्रयोविंशोऽध्यायः.
इति श्रीमद्भागवते महापुराणे पारमहंस्यां संहितायां चतुर्थस्कन्धे त्रयोविंशोऽध्यायः.
इति श्रीमद्भागवते महापुराणे पारमहंस्यां संहितायां चतुर्थस्कन्धे त्रयोविंशोऽध्यायः.
A cough suddenly kicked in. Okay, we'll just end the class here today. Anand, you can just do the Kayena Vacha, please, maybe. I'm not able to stop. I don't know what happened. Yep.
Very limited.
Oh, sorry.
Sri Hariye Namaha, Sri Hariye Namaha, Sri Hariye Namaha. Gopika Jeevana Smaranam Govinda, Govinda Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. Kayena Vacha Manasendriyarva Buddhyatmana Va Prakriti Sabhavat Karomi Yadya Sagalam Varasmi Narayanaayeti Samarpayami.
Thank you. I don't know what. Suddenly, towards the end, it started coming, so it doesn't stop all of a sudden. I don't know what happened. Anyway,
Take care,
thank you all.
Rajesh.
Thank you.
Take care, Rajesh.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.